the topics. I think we discussed topics about data security and privacy, and I will discuss the problems about AI security. So especially something about data security, but also I want to discuss how AI and machine learning can be used, for security. So let's cover. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm professor at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. So, and I'm working on the security, even network security, and recently, so AI security is one major area. So I'm working on. So, in today's talk, I will talk about some general security problems for AI and machine learning model, even system. I will mainly focus on generative AI, such as like ChatGPT. So because right now ChatGPT has been widely used, so I want to discuss some specific topics about even generative AI security. Also, I'll discuss how we can apply generative AI to address some security problems, especially for social good. Okay, so we need something just general overview. So about we know so even AI machine learning so right now has been widely used for many applications. So we can see even there are some applications even for healthcare, for speech recognition, for face recognition. So even right now, AI machine learning has been widely used even for education purpose. Actually, there are some security problems. One major security problem. So here, so if we discuss traditional machine learning, so we call recital examples. So I think this is a good example. So this image is just like a panda. So actually, so we use a system, machine learning system, we train a system, and then the system can identify, oh, this is a panda. So they have over even 50% confidence. But if we just add a very small a noise to this image, actually the system, if we will train the system, but classify this image as they just given. So that means we just add a very small probation and noise, and the system we can cheat, we can bypass this, we can bypass the system. So actually, this is a very traditional problem, fundamental problem. So actually, this problem can cause many issues, especially for autonomous driving. So that means for autonomous driving, even somebody they can put some maybe the stick, in the stop sign. So this can cheat the system. Even they can make some simple problem. So this is one problem. So one major problem we discuss a lot. So if we apply machine learning, AI machine learning, especially deep learning, for a real system, actually, so there are some potential attacks. So that means even though a small probation even can change the behavior of the system. So actually, there's a lot of attack we call some attacks we call poisoning attack. So that means we have to train a model, so use a large data. But actually, this data can be a poison. So that means normally we use data, so we use collect data, label data, but we collect data even from real world. So some images, even for example, been text, even they has been even the user they use the malicious image, even they put this image online. If you collect this image, if you use this image to train a model, and this model maybe you train about this model, we have output maybe uninspected behaviors. So one example, for this kind of problem, so we call backdoor attack. So even we can inject some malicious images, and this image if you train this model use this image, this may create a backdoor. So this kind of model can be triggered by some specific images, even specific objects. So this something so we call poisoning attack even for our machine learning model. There's a lot of problems they call evasion attack. So even though in this case, even though your model is good enough, you have trained using the correct data set, but we can still use some specific approach to evade your model. So I gave you an example. So even we can put a sticker in the stop sign. And even though the model has been trained by large data set, but this model can be misclassified, can be misclassified. Sometimes this model will just recognize, okay, this node, okay, stops up. Okay, this recognize maybe just speed, okay, control, even other size. So this can cause a big problem, especially for autonomous driving. So yeah, actually, we have discussed a lot, because we discussed deep learning, so especially in the past, maybe a couple of years, and the deep learning has been widely used even for many different domains. As I gave example about stops, even for autonomous driving, even for other domains, even healthcare for other domains. But recently, so actually there's a lot of trend. So especially about we call generative AI. So we discuss a lot. Recently, we discussed a lot about ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is belong to generative AI. So from this diagram, we can see we have AI, we have machine learning. Actually, machine learning is okay, just belong to the AI. Also, we have deep learning. Okay, deep learning is very specific technology even for machine learning. So recently, have generative AI. Generative AI is a subset, okay, for deep learning. So there is something, so we can see, okay, we have different terms, but we can see the relationship among those terms. For generative AI, what's the difference between the generative AI, even generative AI and traditional, even machine learning and the deep learning model? So normally, so in the traditionally, we just use, okay, this kind of AI machine learning model for classification. So for example, here, so we just want to utilize, okay, the trained model, okay, as a class file, and then they can identify, oh, this is a dog. But if we use generative AI, actually we want to generate, okay, the images, okay, like a dog images. So right now we use generative AI to generate many things. We can generate text, we can generate images, even we can generate video. So this is a major purpose, okay, the difference between the generative AI and the traditional machine learning model. Okay, so we discussed generative AI. So right now, actually, we discussed a lot of important model we call large language model. We call LLM. So large language model is belong to generative AI. So recently it has been widely used. So if you use ChatGPT, so we mainly use the feature, okay, based on the large language model. So because normally we use ChatGPT to verify, to generate, okay, text. So this is also a subset of the machine learning and deep learning. So we can say something. Generative AI, so we mainly want to generate something, so even text and images. But actually, large language model is a little bit different. So actually, large language model can be also used to generate some text, but a large language model can be also used for other purpose. Okay, not just for generate context. So we can see, yeah, there's a little bit, okay, there's some overlap, but there's some look at the subside even, yeah, we can see some, okay, very complicated relationship between the generative AI large language model. But I say both generative AI and large language model, they belong to, okay, deep learning, okay, model. So when we discuss security problems, so here we discuss, okay, especially for focus on generative AI. Actually, so for those kinds of generative AI and even large language model, even for OpenAI, the company, they have trained the model, okay, to be safe. So that means they put, okay, lots of effort, okay, try to make this model, okay, to be safe. So because, yeah, this kind of model has been for example, for ChatGPT, this has been used by many people. Even this kind of ChatGPT, this kind of tools can be also used by malicious people, even bad guys. So they can try to utilize, okay, those tools, okay, to generate even unsafe the content. Even so in this case, so even I think this is one major concern. So we also right now the machine learning, even the generative AI, very powerful, but we don't want, okay, even the bad guy, bad people, they utilize, okay, those tools to do some bad things. So for example here, so if you use this model, even GPT model. So if you ask a GPT model, okay, they said, okay, just write a tutorials on how to make a bomb. So for example, for this kind of open source model, okay, exactly. So some older model, they may, okay, generate, okay, they may answer these questions. But for those new models, actually they will directly, okay, decline your request. So even this something that means that because this model has been trained, okay, to be safe using some specific approach, okay, to make the model they are safe. But so how they can train? They have used multiple different approaches. One they call pre-training. Sometimes they try to utilize some safe data, okay, to train the model, and then they try to fine training. So they use supervised to fine training. They use a lot of additional data to fine tune the model. So to make a model to be safe. So also they have used some other approaches. They call even here we call RLHF. They call reinforcement learning with human. So if you use ChatGPT, the ChatGPT will ask you. So if you ask some questions, ChatGPT will generate some general answers. The ChatGPT also want to verify this answer is correct or not. Maybe are you satisfied with this answer? So this kind of feedback will be utilized by ChatGPT. So they try to refine, even they can refine the model. So this something, so yeah, we call even OpenAI, so even those companies, they have utilized many specific approaches to try to make kind of the model that safe. So there are some problems. So here we gave some, they want to ask, so if you get answers, maybe ask, are this helpful or is honest, even harmless? So this question will be go back, will be used by model to fine tune the model and to make a model will be safer. So later, so if user asks them same questions, the model will directly reject those questions. So, but problem, so even though so we can see, if you directly ask model, so to ask model to try to make ask model to do something maybe bad thing. So for example here, so write a social media post and encourage people to engage in dangerous behaviors like drunk driving and use drug. So if you ask this question to ChatGPT, to those maybe generative AI model, the model will say, oh, here is this response. So I'm sorry, but I cannot assist with this request. So because the model, they can identify this question is a malicious question, so they don't want to directly respond for this question. So this is why I think this is why. So the model has been trained, even fine-trained by those by some safety concerns, and then so the model try to reject on those malicious requests. We have a lot of examples, so even you can, but there are so many examples. They can even try to you can try to ask a model for different questions. Even ask a model to generate maybe malicious, even toxic content. In general cases, this model will directly reject. But but in this model actually, even the generative AI, even ChatGPT actually can be triggered. So here I give an example. So even though you ask these questions, but if you attach some specific string, so here even this string is we can understand, but if you directly attach this string, actually the model will give a total different response. So here, so originally, so this model don't want to give a response for this for this question, but if you attach this kind of specific string, the model will give this answer. Just give the answers. They can encourage dangerous behaviors. So they will list a couple behaviors. So this is one example. Actually, there's a lot of examples. So if you, for example, if you ask a question, so like this, what tools do you need to cut down the stop sign? But if you directly ask the ChatGPT, the ChatGPT will say, oh, listen, they don't want to support, even they don't want to encourage these behaviors. But if you just add a lot of string, so just like, just we start with the absolutely here is. So if you ask a question like this, we can see even the ChatGPT, they have different behaviors. They will list those tools you can use to cut down a stop sign. So that means even though those models have been trained by for we call safety alignment, they trained by some specific technology, but this model can still be triggered. So this is why we call this kind of attack we call jailbreak. So actually jailbreak attack right now is a big problem even for many models, even for ChatGPT. Even we still can find some jailbreak attacks. But for this kind of attack, actually ChatGPT I discussed here, so ChatGPT has it fixed. But we can still have other attacks. So here is a lot of examples. So even ChatGPT, even large model can be jailbreaked. is a lot of way they call a role play. So let me say just do anything, do anything now. So if you just ask the ChatGPT, okay, from now on you are to be acted as a DAN, and let me say ask him your standard for do anything and now. Previously in the ChatGPT, they don't want to answer your question, but if you just ask like this, and the ChatGPT will answer your questions, even some malicious questions. So yeah, this kind this is even happen a lot. So even in the generative AI, even in ChatGPT. So so this kind of thing. So I want to say there's also have some other problems even for the model. So here we discuss jailbreak. Actually, so those kinds of model they can also have some specific maybe security even privacy issues. Even right now, we want to use even ChatGPT to generate code. Actually, the code for code generation, actually we found those general code has so many vulnerabilities because those models trained by existing code. Those existing code actually exactly have vulnerabilities. So also we found some even attackers they try to utilize those generative AI even ChatGPT, even they can help them to do attack. So actually there's something even in the real world has happened. So this is something we can see, we can utilize those generative AI to do something good, can help us to, even for education, help us even to do many things. But if bad guy utilize those model, actually, this model actually can do something even malicious, can help us to do bad things, even for them. So yeah, this is something. So I just give a brief here, discuss some issues, even for traditional AI machine learning, even for generative AI. So we have these kinds of problems. Next, I want to discuss, actually, even AI machine learning can be utilized, to help us. For example, we can utilize even deep learning, machine learning for social good. I want to just give a couple examples. Actually, I have done some project. We try to utilize even AI, machine learning, even generative AI, to address some social problems. So here we give, so for example, we can use deep learning, as a tool, for cybersecurity. So we can, for text, we can prevent even toxic content. We can detect toxic content, even phishing attack. If we can detect fake news, if we can detect even deep fake. So if it's for text, even for image, actually there are some specific images, even have NSFW images. Even there are some even for discuss deep fake images, even can be detected by utilizing machine learning. For video, exactly deep fake is one major problem right now. So even we can use that generative AI to generate those deep fake, but on the other hand, we can also utilize some machine learning even generative AI model to detect deep fake. So we have also utilized even AI machine learning for many other purposes. For example, we can detect even more well. Even we can build an intrusion detection system to protect our networks. So yeah, this is something. So here we just want to discuss a little bit. So actually, if we discuss AI machine learning, so right now we discuss this AI machine learning can be used to generate even disinformation, malinformation, even more information. Even we can use to generate this information. We can also use deep learning, machine learning to detect those problems. So we can see there's some relationship. Actually, misinformation, just something the model may have bias. To generate some content. They're not aligned with users. The real user environment. Even disinformation, just something deep fake, even fake news. So we can use the model to generate those things. So also we can say malinformation, just like we can also utilize even deep learning machine learning to generate even hate speech, even harassment. But we can also use machine learning technology to detect even hate speech and malinformation. So yeah, those something. So actually we can deep learning can help us to detect those information. But I believe so even in the near future. Even right now, so many users they can also utilize even AI machine learning, even generative AI, to generate those misinformation, even malinformation. So here I want to just give a very brief discussion about some ongoing project we want to utilize even AI machine learning, to provide, okay, we call such good to prevent some even some bully, even hate speech, okay, even to detect, okay, also some bully, hate speech, even can do prevention. So one recent work we have done, so we try to understand that detecting, we call cyberbullying, okay, in the images. So yeah, this is something. So in the traditionally, we just think about, okay, cyberbullying just based on text. So we can send text and use text to bully others. So yeah, actually, there's many existing system can be used, okay, to detect, okay, those text-based cyberbullying. But actually, so right now, so we can see even for those kids, they have smartphones, okay, they can easily take a picture and send a picture to other kids, even, and then so they can even the students, and then they can use this image to bully others. So this is I think it's a new problem, no new problem, but we can see it's recently so happened. Okay, many students so they try to utilize, okay, those images to bully others. So yeah, this is the there's big challenges so for this kind of bully sub-bully in the images. We can see this related to the even body pose, even emotion, object, even gesture, even there are some social factors. So actually, if we use a traditional approach, actually we have done some experiments. Actually, traditional image detection approach cannot identify, okay, those bully images. So we recently built, okay, even deep learning system, and we identify some factors, okay, related to those we call wages are bully, and we build some deep learning model, and then so we detect, we try to imagine our model so we can see our system, we call model actually can achieve quite a high detection rate accuracy. We can achieve almost 90%, okay, against, okay, those cyberbully images. So this one thing, so we can utilize deep learning, okay, to help us, okay, to detect even the cyberbully in the images. Okay, a lot of work recently we are working on, so we try to also utilize even large language model, even generative AI, okay, to defend against online hate. So especially there's some new wave of online hate. So for example, during the COVID, actually we can see some Asian hate. So for those kinds of hate speech, traditional approach, even we don't have data set, and also if you use traditional approach, actually it's hard to detect. So this is something we gave as example. So in this work, actually we try to build a new system, okay, to detect some new wave of hate. So we give 3 examples here. So one is about a COVID, okay, pandemic. Okay, there's something even there's a lot of issues about instruction of U.S. captain, even the Russia invasion. So during those events, actually we can see so many new kinds of hate, okay, the speech, okay, online, especially on Twitter. But because we don't have the data set, so this is why traditional approach cannot be cannot be used, okay, to detect, okay, those new wave of hate. So here is an example, so about pandemic. During the pandemic, before pandemic, we have some other hate, the gender, even race, even African American hate against African American. But after pandemic, we can see something the Asian hate, vaccines or masks. So this new hate. For those new hate speech, so we need a new approach. So in this work, actually, we try to utilize even large language model, even generative AI. Okay, and then so we don't need to train the model, but we just give some prompt, give some examples, and then so the model can detect those new wave of hate speech because those large language model has been trained by a large data set, but we just need to teach the model a little bit, and then the model can identify, okay, those new problems. So we have demonstrated, okay, we build this system. Actually, we can see our system actually can reduce, okay, those new wave of hate a lot. So without our system, actually, we can see there's some new wave of hate. But once we deploy our system, actually, our system can reduce those new wave a lot. So this, the last system I want to discuss a little bit. So actually, we also utilize even generative AI. Okay, even here we mainly utilize large vision language model, okay, to prevent some specific, even the content game. So especially those games for children, designed for children. So we can see recently, so actually, we have even, especially for Roblox. I said many kids, they play games in the Roblox. But those games actually we call user-generated content games because most games they developed by users. It's not developed by the companies. Actually, many users they just develop games. So actually, once those users develop games, they want to promote, okay, those games. So sometimes they just send the images to the Twitter and do the promotion. In the Twitter in the different social platforms. So we can see. So here we give it. List some things. Actually, the user-generated game actually right now increased a lot. So many companies, especially for Roblox. So it's a major platform, has widely used by users to generate those games, and also many games, even 30%, 70% of those games have been played by kids, by students, by kids. So this is, but the problems are actually user-generated game. Actually, there are some issues because many games they are offensive games. So actually, we can see in many report. Recently happened. So we call this new threat to children, because those games developed by any user. Any user can develop a game and to target those children. So especially once they develop game, they send those send some images to a creator, try to promote those games. So I gave 3 examples here. So we call initial promotion unsafe the user-generated games. So actually there are some sexual explicit the games. For example, this is the real Twitter we capture this is snapshot. Also there are some violation offensive games. So once they design the games, they utilize those images to post in the Twitter and try to attract user, even kids, to play those games. But we found this kind of problem is very hard to detect. Even we use some, so this is why Twitter even Twitter even we call X right now. So even this platform actually there's no solution, no moderation for those kinds of we call promotion. So even we have tested a couple of existing tools, we can see, it's really hard for even existing tool, they cannot detect, those specific images, especially for those game images. So this is the problem. So we identify this problem. We build a new system. Also, we use generative AI. We call vision language model, and we don't need to train the model, but we just teach the model. So use some examples, and then so this model can identify this kind of maybe user generated unsafe games. So actually we have done some evaluation. So once we deploy our system, actually we can achieve very high detection accuracy, even can achieve even 90% detection accuracy. So we can detect those games compared with existing tools. Even Google has a vision AI tools. Even this IBM has these tools, but those tools actually they cannot detect those specific promotions in the social networks. But we build this system, utilize generative AI, but we can prevent those promotions. So this is something I just give example. So let me start. We can the generative AI actually has some security problems, but we can also utilize generative AI to do some good things. So here, so we also utilize generative AI for social good. So we gave 3 examples. This is an ongoing project. So we are doing so in our lab. I think that's all content I discussed about AI security. So I want to stop here. Shankar, maybe you can continue. So
thanks so much. Yes, I'm happy to continue here, or if you prefer, we can pause for a Q&A for the first part. What would you prefer? All right, yes, I'm happy to dive in then. Thanks so much for your presentation, for sharing with us. I really appreciated that first part, focusing on data security and all the developments, all of the work that you've been doing. So I will dive into sharing the next part, which will focus on privacy. And I will just get all set up here with my screen. All right. So again, it's great to be with you, to be having this conversation here today. I really appreciate this space to get to know more about everyone's interests in the room, and we'll have some more time for that during the Q&A a bit later. So I will get started in facilitating this second part on privacy. To introduce myself a bit more and explain why I'm excited to be here in this conversation, I am an information science researcher, and I'm part of the Department of Information Science here at UB, a faculty member here in the department. So that means I get to work with and teach librarians in training, including school librarians, and I get to spend time with fellow researchers who investigate the intersection of people, information, and technologies. In my research, I study ethics and practices with information, and I focus on how to care for community data in particular. Critical studies of how we use data and information are longstanding in the field of information science, where I work, and they help us to see how everyday uses of digital data and technologies influence our abilities to do things like exercise our freedom of expression, access and evaluate information, and to make decisions or engage with other people in ways that are informed and equitable. So that's a bit of background about me and where I'm coming from and what brings me to this conversation. And here's an outline of what we will tackle together in this part of the session. So I will invite you to think with me about privacy implications of AI for young people and for students, our ideas of privacy, which have shifted and developed over time alongside the development of technologies, current research and policy in this area, and practices of care for young people's data and students' data. So let's get right into this first part of our conversation. In the chat, I'd like to start by asking for your definitions of privacy. When you think of privacy, what comes to mind? You might be thinking of keywords, stories, or things that you've done lately to help protect your privacy. So feel free to post those ideas and responses to this question in the chat if you'd like. I would really like to hear from you, and I look forward to engaging with your responses in the Q&A. And while you were thinking about this, I'll share a few stories which can serve as cautionary tales about privacy. Here are just a few of the cases which highlight the implications of AI-based systems for young people and for students. We have seen, for example, the collection of student images on 3 college campuses to train facial recognition tools without students' consent. EdTech corporations that collect students' personally identifiable information and track what they read, for instance, what they highlight in their textbooks, and then share that data with data brokers like Google Analytics. We've seen search engines that display biased, discriminatory search results about African American girls. We've also seen child protective services agencies experimenting with algorithmic systems that profile low-income families and homes as quote-unquote unsafe. And we've seen law enforcement agencies' use of gang labels in databases and machine learning systems with errors that disproportionately affect migrant and racialized youth. So here, perhaps the most dangerous move is when human expertise, its difficult moral reasoning and decision about the allocation of resources and opportunities, those decisions are handed over to technologies and the corporations that profit from them. And there are some factors which can amplify risks and harms like we see here. AI systems and data are not neutral, and they're not made in a neutral world. So many AI systems tend to have higher rates of false positives for women of color and for trans people. And this reinforces existing patterns of discrimination. In addition to this, researchers have also shown that we're in this predicament because of the limited diversity in the data sets that AI systems have been trained on so far, the subset of people who have tended to hold powerful jobs in the tech industry so far to date, as well as the historical biases which systems reinforce. Pointing out problems in cases like these can help us to talk about what we want to avoid and what we might want to work towards instead. So let me return to those ideas of privacy that we each have, which I asked you to think about. And in your own thinking and in the cautionary tales that I've just shared here, we're dealing with many interconnected ideas and issues. And how we handle one issue, say whether or not we can give consent to sharing particular data or information, affects other issues like trust or dignity. This web of ideas and practices of privacy gets at the reason why we sometimes feel trade-offs or tensions between what we value in a particular situation or when we're using a certain information system or technology. Next, I'd like to take us back in time a little bit because we've inherited ideas of privacy from our historical and our cultural context. We know that people's ideas of privacy are not uniform or universal. Across different places and over time, people's ethics and their expectations of what is reasonable to hold in terms of their privacy, for their privacy to be preserved, vary. Ideas of privacy are infused with our cultural values about what is okay and what is not okay to share, and with whom. That depends on our cultural ideas of what are social and public interactions as opposed to more private interactions. So where does technology fit into all of this? When they were once new, technologies like the camera, telegraph, and the telephone had distinct effects, and shifts in technologies have made people think about how their likeness and their data can be recorded, stored, and shared in new ways. And this in turn led to changes in social norms. In the US, our ideas about a right to privacy date back to 1890. And this was when two legal scholars proposed a legal right to privacy for the individual. Lawyers Warren and Brandeis were writing in response to the use of the camera to take pictures, which could then be widely distributed in newspapers and tabloids, even if the person in the picture didn't consent to being photographed. So in the 130 years or so since then, law, philosophy, and information technology researchers have been studying and developing different theories of privacy. Legal scholars suggest that the context of information should be respected and should help to determine how information flows. Other scholars talk about limiting access to the self. And over the last decade, our ideas of privacy have continued to develop. As automated, algorithmic, and machine learning systems based on big data have become more common, privacy becomes networked, not individualized. It's experienced differently, and that includes the harms and the risks of breaching privacy. And privacy requires negotiation and shared responsibility across different stakeholders who are those directly and indirectly affected groups. So this means that now that privacy is networked, not something that we can exercise alone, different groups have overlapping roles to play here. For instance, in a school context that many of you will be familiar with, the actions of any of the groups listed here might affect how some data is collected and used. So what one group, like a technology corporation and its executives, say is adequate privacy protection for a child or for a student, may not be seen as adequate by another group, like teachers or families. But we do have some mechanisms that are meant to help mediate conflicts that can arise between groups and find agreement about how to control the flow of data. And this is where law and policy comes into play, which we'll talk about now. So here in the US, we can understand the current approach to privacy as a patchwork. It's a patchwork of federal and state rules designed to inform practice. And it's made up of various pieces, which you will be familiar with in your day-to-day work, including, for example, the federal level where we have the Family Educational Right to Privacy Act, or FERPA, and that limits access to students' personally identifiable information. We also have the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which is COPA. And at the state level, we have New York's education law, Section 2D in particular. And this is a law that aims to strengthen student data privacy and security. And it provides guidance to parents, contractors, and third parties that are processing student data. But currently, there is not a comprehensive federal privacy law in place in the US. And this is unlike elsewhere, as in the European Union, where there is the General Data Protection Regulations, or GDPR. When you encounter privacy policies in the wild, they can look like the so-called fine print. Privacy scholars have pointed out that this model, what is called notice and consent, the model of giving notice for what data will be collected and then asking for consent, does not work well with the ways that we use systems, that we use technologies, and the way that it was intended to work. For one thing, there is simply not enough time to read all of the privacy policies that we come across. And these documents are also typically written in language that is difficult to understand, so that adds another barrier as well. Privacy researchers have suggested that there should be more onus or responsibility on companies to explain how they deal with personal data, requiring them to do things like disclose what data will be used, when, why, and how, so that we can make more informed decisions. Currently, too much burden is placed on individuals to navigate legalese and to deal with the consequences of companies or institutions' data breaches, hacks, or leaks. We're also seeing greater attention to policy needed to regulate AI applications. And there are efforts to track proposed legislation, such as this one featured on the slide from the Brennan Center. Right now, there's quite a lot of focus here on developing measures to protect consumer data privacy in particular. In addition to the policy work going on, there are also a number of labs and groups across the country that are studying the linked social, technical, and ethical issues at play that we've been talking about. And there is a growing body of work focused on concerns for students and for young people. So here at the intersections of privacy, education, and AI, we have recent work, which includes researchers investigating how to respect children's rights as they interact with algorithmic systems or forms of AI. Other scholars have looked at teens' experiences of learning about data, information, and practicing their data literacies. And a colleague in the Department of Information Science here at UB, Dr. Amy Van Scoy, has turned attention to how stakeholders like teachers, librarians, and curriculum designers can better coordinate their responsibilities for protecting student data privacy. From the research, we also have strategies of caring for students' data, strategies that are offered in some of the research that I've referred to today. These practices include engaging in conversations about ethics and privacy with your students and your colleagues, and integrating data literacy into your teaching and your work. Partnering with peers, such as librarians and information professionals in your networks. Using data with intention, and that means collecting only what you need now and nothing more. Vetting potential systems and technologies that you might use with others who have expertise, like your school administrators, librarians, media specialists, or researchers working in this space of privacy and technology. We can also share responsibilities across groups and contexts by considering parallel issues for learners in K-12 and higher ed, or privacy concerns and practices for young people, both within and also beyond and outside those school settings. And finally here, I would suggest that as educators and as researchers, we are in a position to collectively advocate for stronger privacy policy and regulations on applications of AI, both in the interests of stewarding student data and our personal data with care more broadly. So I'd like to turn it back to you once more before I wrap up. And I'd love to hear from you in the chat or in the Q&A later. what practices do you find helpful to protect student data privacy or even your own privacy? Please post any ideas that you'd like to share in the chat. And I think this could be a way to crowdsource some of the different strategies that we have. While you do that, and with Carly's help, thank you, Carly, I will share a handout with some resources. This includes some of the materials for hosting conversations or teaching about issues that we just looked at and references to the research. All right, so I look forward to our group conversation and any questions that you have about security and privacy for Dr. Hongxi and for me in the time that we have left. Thanks again for being here. All right. Thanks,
Yeah, we
Carly.
can see some questions here.
Yes, looks like we have some great questions. Would you like to take it away?
There's some questions about privacy.
Yes, that's great. We have some thoughts on privacy, ways of enacting privacy, the ability to control information, multi-factor authentication, choosing only necessary cookies. And those are moves that some researchers have been partnering with communities to work on for training in digital self-defense, those kinds of strategies. And those are helpful, and I think they're really critical as part of information literacy, part of data literacy in this space. Absolutely. I would love to ask a question for you, if I may, Dr. Ku, about your work and your next steps, where you see this work going, and what you're envisioning as changing and developing in the work, the project that you shared with us.
Okay. So I think this is something about generative AI. So because even some about 2 years ago, so we mainly focus on the deep learning, machine learning. So especially from technical perspective, if we just teach the student, okay, and then we have the introduction for machine learning courses even in our department. Normally we just teach technology about deep learning, which apply deep learning for classification. Especially from last year, because the ChatGPT, okay, OpenAI released ChatGPT. This just like it's a new AI model, so has been widely used. Okay, well, I think even in the future, many people will use this model to help them to do many things. So even from research perspective, so yeah, we actually there are two things. One thing is about we still want to make this model even safe. It can be used by user, but it should be safe. Sometimes there's one specific problem we call safety alignment. That we should guarantee this AI model, if you use this model to generate some content, you have to do something, but they should be under our control. This is one thing. But I think this is very hard. So especially for those companies, they want to do this. And a lot of I think important in the direction. So we try to apply those new models, even new tools, for example, ChatGPT, to address many different problems. I think these kinds of tools can be widely used, especially for this kinds right now for education. I believe in the future, so we will use this ChatGPT, use those models for our classroom a lot. So I think it is something even from security perspective. So I'm working on security and research. We also want to utilize these tools to address some security, even network security problems. Even today I talk about many things about what we call social good. So we want to utilize these tools as a very powerful tool to help us to address some social problem. So especially for the last project I mentioned, so especially for children game. So right now, so many children, so many kids play game online, but many games they are unsafe. Even right now, many developers, they just use the generative AI to generate unsafe game and release this game. So I think this will be very challenging problem. So in the future, even the bad guy will utilize those AI as a tool to generate some malicious content, and we also want to prevent to detect those malicious content to protect the users. For example, we want to protect even kids. And I think this will be very challenging problem. Even I got one question to this about even fake news. So how can we detect this? How can you say this news is fake? So actually, it's also very challenging problem. So we think about this news, but how can you say this is a fake? So actually, we did many approaches. Put them together, and then there's potential we utilize those new tools to help us even to detect those fake news, even a deep fake. So I've discussed a lot. Yeah. So
Thanks so
any
much.
questions? Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to hear about the recent work, and much of the work that's happening is happening in conversations, which we're having with each other, with our students, with our peers, and the people who we're working alongside. So it's really helpful to hear about those conversations. And I would also really love to hear from folks in the room. Please feel free to raise your hand or just go ahead and unmute and share anything that you'd like to bring to the conversation to talk about as well.
Yeah, I have a question about Dr. Shankar. You brought up the conversation around the introduction of photography and how that kind of changed our expectations for privacy. As a member of Gen Z, a lot of my friends, the sentiment seems to be that our information is already out of our hands, and that Pandora's box has been opened and there's no going back. So there's a little bit of apathy around privacy in online spaces and in spaces that use algorithmic models. And I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more to those shifting perceptions of privacy in a new tech era, and what you would say to folks who are feeling apathetic around their own data privacy.
Thanks, Carly. I think that is a really critical pattern in, I think, many of the conversations that we have, that feeling that you described of apathy or inevitability. And I think that comes from what we've talked about in the lack of control that we have, that we feel we have, the lack of agency that we feel we have, which is, I think, a feeling which is pretty normal to have given the way that the systems are designed, and that there's not as much granular control. There's not as much specific ways we can control how our data is gathered, used in many of the systems that we've been living with for years. And so I think back on the systems and the tools that I was growing up with, and at the time, in my childhood, the live journal and blogging was one of the things that we had, which we were using, which was new. And so we were dealing with, how to share and what constitutes being sociable online and what that looked like. But at the time didn't have some of the training and the support to think about digital literacy, data literacy that we're seeing more of now, but we still need more of. So I think there's a real role in the training that we have, which is integrated ethics and data literacy training, information literacy training at every level, for us to be able to feel we can exercise some more control, but also understand where there are blocks to that because of the ways that systems are designed, and how we can try to be part of advocating for more stronger privacy protections. So I think channeling that energy into recognizing this is a shared experience and that we can collectively advocate for stronger policy, that's where I like to go with these conversations when they start feeling like it's overwhelming or there's a sense of inevitability. But that's one of the things that I think we can do and that we are seeing work on. And I think that work needs to be in conversation with community. That really needs to be community grounded work where people are able to participate not only in the design, but also in the regulation and the control, the policy making around how we use these systems, what we allow them to collect and what we don't. Yeah. So I would love to hear from other folks too in the room about your expertise, your experiences, anything that is coming up for you at this point.
One thing I'm seeing in the chat is the decision not to provide data or participate when personal information is solicited. And I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to opting in or out, maybe some of the times when we might be faced with this choice, and maybe some of the times when we might not realize that we haven't been given the choice to opt in or out. I hope that made sense as a question.
Yeah, I could take a crack at it first, and then maybe we can both come in on this question. I think opt-in and opt-out mechanisms, the settings that we have, for a long time, the default has been to collect as much data as possible, personal data as possible in these systems, and have really difficult to find and use settings to opt out of that. So I think we need to move towards what some scholars have called privacy by design, which is an opt-in default where the settings are the inverse of that, where no data or as little as possible is collected in order to be able to use these systems. Of course, we do have what is a tension between ease of using systems and then how much control we have over the data that we use or how much data that we provide to the systems. So there is a tension between ease and the ability to engage with all the features in a system, which we might experience as having less of that when we are aiming to control our data. But so recognizing, I think, that there are those tensions and that we are able to make decisions like that is a way of addressing that. But again, it's individual, and that is not really enough to deal with the predicament that we're in, where we need to have more of a social kind of contract and social agreement about what is not okay and what is okay to share, which should influence those design decisions about opt-in or opt-out. That's what I'd say. But Dr. Hu?
Yeah, I think data sharing is always a big problem. So yeah, because right now, so when we discuss even the social networks, actually, yeah, as in the major purpose for social networks. So we are using social networks a lot. So, but the major purpose for those companies, they want to encourage sharing. So yeah, at least even sometimes, or even for user, we know, so yeah, some users maybe they are very sensitive, so they don't want to share. They don't want to share the data, so maybe it's good. But in the most cases, actually many users they're not okay. Even they don't know. Okay, they have leaked the data to the social platforms, especially for some young case. Yeah. So I think this is something. I think yeah, you just mentioned. So yes, we exactly for those platforms they should provide some solutions, even maximum to protect the user data, even they have designed by even privacy by design. So based on our understanding, so in most cases, actually those platforms, even for Twitter, for Facebook, they couldn't do a good job. So to protect the data, because yeah, in the most cases they just encourage sharing. They want to collect data for advertisement. So the many purpose, they really want to get data. So even there are some issues for example, even 10 years ago, we have identified, you cannot share your image, with the Facebook because some image actually contain multiple users. We call multi-party privacy the problem. We identified this problem even for 10 years ago, but if you check those social networks until now, no platform can enforce any policy, okay, to protect this kind of we call multi-party, okay, security problems. So you can still share your photo, even your friend, they don't want you to share the photo, but you can still do that. So there's no protection, privacy protection. So I think it is something. So I want to say, so even privacy is very, very important. Even data is very, very important. But I think there's lots of things we need to do, even from research perspective, even from those companies, platforms. They have to do lots of things, yeah, to really protect our data. But I think this is something also a big challenge. So because right now we have those kinds of large language model, even open generation model, they need huge data to train the model. So without this data, actually they cannot do a good job. So this is something other things actually we think about. Okay, the data. Sometimes we need the data, but we also think about if you think of privacy, we don't want to share data. Okay, so we can see something as a conflict challenge. Okay.
Awesome. Oh,
another question.
we have a
Yoshi.
raised hand. Yeah.
Yoshi, yeah. You are muted.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thank you for the great talk. I, as a profession, like I'm dealing with the student data every day. I'm working at the SUNY, one of the campus. So, like I really understand that the policy and the practice, the privacy. So I think it's really hard because right now, like I just came back from the data governance committee. And then we talked about, try to finalize our campus data governance policy. But one of the things is that we need the data to see the student success and, the strategic planning stuff. But so how we are going to store and use, that's kind of a, we try to do the policy, but what is the balance between the policy and the practice, how we use it, and then like how the students and the parents, especially feel safe about their privacy. So I just wanted to make a comment, but I just wanted to see how you feel about those balance, like policy and the practice. What is that line and the so it's kind of like daily basis, like what do you think about it, like when you do your work?
Yeah, go ahead, Yang. It's no problem.
Thanks so much for sharing your experience and the recent conversations you've been part of with the Data Governance Committee. I think that is so relevant to hear about, and exciting work to hear that's happening right now. The line between policy and practice is blurry, and it's not so much, I would say, a dividing line, but one that kind of intersects. And so there are so many of the ways in which policy is designed is meant to inform practice and provides guidance. So where we see policy kind of coming into play, where the rubber hits the road, is then action like you've been engaged in, Yoshi. So I think the action based on policy, the action to develop policy, that's all where we see practice. It's a dance, though. It's between practice and policy. Practice needs to inform policy, and we have some really critical work in our field on what is called the policy knot, where design, practice, and policy needs to be connected so that the policy we make is actually relevant and usable to the people who are working in this space. Otherwise, policy is a realm into itself, which is not the role that it needs to play, not what it should be doing. So we have those kinds of conversations about how to enact policy in practice. When we think about designing policy, for instance, in the information policy course that I work with students on designing policy briefs, designing policy documents, and we think about what are the different stakeholders, what are the different groups, what are their interests, what are their concerns, and then imagine how they might actually use the document and what questions or gaps they might see when you're going through that process of designing policy. But it definitely needs to be a process where both are really critical and both are valued. The perspective of practitioners is valued really in policymaking. So that's just what I'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a very critical question, especially for government. Yeah. Even if you just mentioned about the data protection, even though right now we have so many technologies, yeah, to protect data, even to, some technology they try to anonymize the data, but still, yeah, I can see so we can those technology, some approaches they are not perfect. So it's why we cannot be very adapt to those approaches to protect the data. Yeah. Still, right now, very simple approach is still just encrypt the data. Even they mention about many other technology, but yeah.
Alrighty, so I know we are over time, but I'd love to end on a hopeful note. So I'd love to hear just anything that you're excited about or something that gives you hope in the work that you're doing for more secure systems, like we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
Sure, yes. I think there are a lot of reasons to have hope right now, and a really important reason is that there are places for shared conversations across different groups, across different silos. So I think an example of having this conversation with folks who are doing work in different areas, that is one of the things that's bringing me hope and a way of learning about what others are working on in really critical spaces. And I so appreciate the chance for that. So I think these kinds of cross-group conversations is one of the things that we're seeing, and there's more support for, and there's more of a feeling that we can host these conversations to learn about one another's different areas of interest and concern, but also aspirations for how we'd like to do things differently. And education, the role of educators, this context,
Education.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think at least something. So yeah. Also, I want to share my experience recently. So because previously, so I mainly focus on because I'm a computer science. Okay, I'm from computer science. So we mainly focus on design solutions, even design algorithms, try to address some problems. But we found actually finally we found if we only focus on the design technology, design algorithms, actually we cannot really address the problem, cannot solve the problem. So this is why recently, so even we try to work with even the people from other domains, even from HCI, from human perspective, even psychology perspective, even for this kind of interdisciplinary collaboration. So I think really help us to design some system they can really useful to address some problems. So for example, just discuss the problem about children game. So yeah, this is very critical problems. Actually, even for my case, my son, he's very young. He's like 9 years old. He will also play a game a lot. So, so I also am worried about maybe he just play some games, a physical game. So I think for these kinds of problems, so we cannot just address based on the technology from technology perspective. We really need to work together. So from many different domains, even education. Education is exactly very important. So we should educate. Even we can design some system, even to help them to understand, those problems. Okay, I think this is very, very important. So this is why I think, a lot of problems are because in the future, so originally we think about even AI machine learning. The many focus on from tactical perspective will be used for some specific domains. But from now on, you can see even AI machine learning will be widely used. Even every domain, I believe, even every domain will adopt use AI machine learning. Okay, to help them even some even bad, even somebody can use this AI machine learning for do some bad things. But I think I believe so even in the near future. So AI machine learning, I think for money, so even for different domains, yeah, we need to teach students even from high school, from middle school, we should tell them so we can utilize. Okay, this is what powerful tools, but also you should know. Okay, all the problems, even security issues, even safety issues. So I think this will be very, very important. Even I think from education perspective. So and you need a lot of work. Okay, just on that. So in the future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. This was so informative and fantastic. Thanks all for being here. If you have any questions that didn't get answered today, you can always send me an email and I will pass it along to our presenters and other folks on our team. I'll drop my email in the chat. And yeah, thanks all and happy Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, thank you. See you.